Welcome back, everybody, to These Aren't the Nerds You're Looking For. Lorenzo Fon sitting here with
Kevin Horde.
How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well, man. We got the premiere episode of Star Wars Resistance Season 2. I've been looking forward to this one. You, however, got to first view this back in April, right?
Yep, back in April at Star Wars Celebration Chicago. I sat in on the Resistance panel, which was way cool. So yeah, we saw a complete finished episode. Nothing changed. I was joking with you earlier. My memory's been shoddy lately. So if you had asked me earlier this morning what happened in this episode, I don't think I'd be able to tell you. And as soon as I started watching this episode, I was like, "Oh, right, yes." So
interesting. Now, did you guys? Was it just Season 2, Episode 1, or did you get to see the first 2 episodes?
Nope, just this one. Yep, just this one. Just 22 minutes. They didn't take up too much time out of the panel because the whole cast and everything was there. We saw this episode and we got the trailer for Season 2 as a whole as well.
Now, when you say the whole cast was there, who was there?
So we had like Christopher, Sean. We had
you can just name him by character. That'll work. Yeah.
I'm like going through my head. So Christopher Sean, who's Kazuda. We had Josh Brenner, who was Niku. We had Scott Lawrence, who was Yeager. Susie McGrath was there, who was Tam. Bobby Moynihan was there. Who else was there? I think Jason Hightower might have been there, who's Captain Doza.
Okay.
That's my memory of it. I'll have to go back and double check. There may have been other people there as well, but yeah, those were the main ones that were definitely in my head.
No worries, man. That's
thinking
pretty
back
awesome.
6 months ago. Yeah. So, yeah, they were all there. They sat in the room and watched the episode with us. There was nothing to be said after the episode. That was kind of the end of the presentation, but they kind of hopped back on stage, said their thank yous. And then we got out of there. We got free posters, which was fun as well. So to recap events from Star Wars Celebration, if you have never been to a Star Wars Celebration before, that's kind of what happens. I think we've already kind of discussed. We had a Star Wars Celebration episode, right? Again, my memory is very shoddy now.
I think so.
Yeah. So long ago.
Yes, that was
back in
episode
April.
96.
Yeah.
Looks like we dropped that April 19th.
Yep. So, yeah, we had a full Celebration recap. Celebration is happening again next year in Anaheim. So I will be attending. I don't believe you are.
Unfortunately, I was not able to get tickets when they went on.
Real fast.
Yeah. That I don't know if that was the issue as much as the timing of it when they went on sale was like right before my daughter's birthday and my wife's birthday and our anniversary and whatnot. So it was like a whole bunch of, home financial stuff that I couldn't be like, oh, I'm going to spend $250 on tickets to something next year instead of concentrating on the here and now.
On the family. Yeah, no,
yep.
You made the right choice.
If it was like a month, if they would have gone on sale like a month earlier or a month later, it would have happened. But yeah, just that damn timing, man.
You're good. You're all good.
Gotta beat the clock, I guess.
One last piece of housekeeping that I don't believe we have mentioned on this show at all, but it was not announced at Star Wars Celebration. It was announced later on, but Season 2 of Star Wars Resistance is, in fact, going to be the final season of Resistance.
Yeah, what the fuck to that one? Let's talk about that after we go through the details and everything.
No worries.
At the end of this episode, and let's see. I'll share my opinion on that then.
No worries. Yeah, so let's get into this episode. This episode is titled Into the Unknown. This is, again, Season 2, Episode 1, premiering on October 6, 2019, with the April 15th, 2019 Celebration screening as sort of another premiere date as well, if you want to consider that.
Yep.
Brad Rao is the director of this episode.
And I've got Stephen Melching as writer.
Good, cool.
Which isn't on isn't on either. I don't think I saw it on the IMDb page, and it's definitely not on the Wikipedia page. That's just pulled straight from the credits.
Right. Yeah. So, it's the wikis on these are always interesting. Like with our Clone Wars episodes, we can like reference them and stuff. The Wookiees and IMDb pages for Resistance is always completely useless to us, basically.
Yeah, sometimes there's like a little bit of a recap of the episode,
right?
And
like maybe like the official short blurb.
I think that's usually about all that the information that's out there when we're sitting down to record these things. Right. Typically within a week you get a whole bunch more information, but that's not even always true. So
right,
we're just flying by the seat of our pants. Yeah. I sit back and let Lorenzo give you a little 5-minute recap, and I try to have some questions after that, and here we go.
That said, spoiler alert on Season 2, Episode 1 of Star Wars Resistance. I will recap the whole episode starting now. So we get a TIE fighter leaving Castellan. It heads up to a Star Destroyer. We see Commander Pyre and Agent Tierney. They are talking to a hologram of Captain Phasma. Phasma wants to find out where the Colossus went. They cannot figure out where it went. Captain Phasma lays down some high stakes where if they can't find it, she'll see to their execution personally. Tam walks in right at this moment. That's kind of about where that scene ends. We hop over to the Colossus, which comes out of hyperspace. They don't know where they are, but again, their goal is getting to Dakar. But they don't know where they are. Kaz does bring up a good point. Since they don't know where they are, there's a 100% chance, therefore, the First Order does not know where they are. They head to go see Captain Doza, who's trying to get a full readout and report on what's going on with the ship. Again, the ship has not flown for many, many, many years. Therefore, many, many, many things are malfunctioning on the ship. They head up to a reopened command deck. Tora is up there. She's checking out some stuff. So is Yeager. Yeager's hanging out there too. Yeager gives Doza a updated report of everything that's gone wrong. Tora notes that they are maybe about 3 parsecs away from Dakar, which, is pretty good. They want to hopefully send a message down to Dakar. Kaz is sure that there is a resistance base on Dakar. However, let's see. So communications are down, and then right about this moment, too, artificial gravity also begins to malfunction. Engines are down. Defenses are down. So Kaz, Tora, and Niku kind of volunteer to go fix most of these items. There's some back and forth on what is the priority. But gravity, engine, defense, and transmitter relay are the items on hand. Kaz, Tora, and Niku head on down to the underbelly of the Colossus to try and see what's going on. We do catch sight that First Order ball droid is hiding out still.
And I think that the name of this droid is MB-13A.
Very cool, because they never mentioned that at all in this episode, and I never went back to see if they ever mentioned it before.
Yeah, I don't even know where I got that info from, but it's written in my notes, so it must be true.
Right. So there's only some slight foreshadowing here where the Chilidae are hiding in their shell. Niku brings up that only happens when the Chilidae are fearful of something.
Yeah, they're scared.
Or there's some danger, right? Kaz, Tora, and Niku go to try and start fixing things up, but they're having some issues. Niku goes to ask one of the Chilidae for help. All they do is respond that they're all in danger, and Niku reports that back to everybody else. CB, the pinkish ball droid, goes to check on the transmitter. She gets attacked by that First Order droid. We cut over to Tierney and Tam. They chat about the Resistance and what Tam knows, and all that stuff gets rehashed. And Then they kind of pivot towards Tam's reasoning for wanting to join the First Order. Tam officially joins the First Order as a cadet to help find the Colossus, even though it is very clear. Tyranny makes it very clear that it will put her friends in danger. Tam makes it very clear that they are no longer her friends. Back on the Colossus, Niku goes to check on CB-23. Her head is detached, and then Niku is then, in turn, attacked by the First Order droid. Tora and Kaz then go to check in on Niku. Then a fight with the First Order droid ensues. First Order droid goes to transmit the Colossus location, as post-fight it turns out the transmitters were fixed. So this droid starts handling that business. Tora and Kaz stop the First Order droid. Niku fixes CB-23 while he is tied up. By the way, he switches something with his foot, knocks the head back on. CB heads to go save Tora and Kaz. Tora deactivates the transmission that the droid, the First Order droid, started feeding out. CB and the First Order droid have their own little fight. The First Order droid then is ejected into space, and our other three heroes, minus Niku because he's tied up somewhere else, are all fine. They then quickly fix the gravity, and Kaz has an idea where, since the droid was trying to get some transmission back to the First Order, he too wants to send a message to Tam to try and explain his position of the secrets and betrayals and lies that were happening. It's a dangerous proposition, but he still wants to do it. He sends it to Tam's personal comm link. We cut over to the Star Destroyer. Tam is in a First Order cadet suit. We see that she does receive the message, but does not listen to the message in its entirety. End of episode. Yes. Cue fanfare.
Yeah, and it's not even like a regular Q fanfare. Like, we have...
it's a sullen music track for sure. It's not the normal theme of Resistance. It's definitely just a more atmospheric, moody piece of music. Fresh piece of music.
And then we get like the Star Wars Resistance logo, and then we get like the normal end of episode fanfare. So... Yeah. I don't know if that's going to be like a repeating thing this season, or if that's just kind of an anomaly with the end of this episode. My first question for you is, should this have been like a two-parter like the first episode of season 1 was, where we got like 44 minutes to jump into the story?
No. I think 22 minutes coming back is fine. You know.
Okay.
Unless there was a story to support it, which I'm gonna just be upfront. I don't think this story supports it. This definitely feels like a standalone issue here for sure. If it was like season 1 and we get 22 minutes, they fix the Colossus, and then like we change locations or whatever, then I don't know. That's fine. Like, I'm not against it. It's just also not my favorite sort of thing to do coming back to a show. I know lots of other shows will do it too. Good Place has done that. That's a 22-minute comedy, but their premieres will run 44 minutes. And their premieres also very distinctly put separate chapters even in the middle of the episode. There won't be another opening credit sequence or anything like that. Not that Good Place has large opening credit, like sort of jingle sort of thing.
Right.
But there'll be like a closing action and then like a new chapter title, and then it'll kind of lead into the second 22-minute phase, right?
Okay.
There's a clear distinction, not to bring it up again, but we always went back and forth on whether to consider that first episode 1 episode or 2 stories or 2 episodes. And
for some reason, technically it's 2, even though it's clearly, when you watch it, clearly it's 1.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
there's
clearly
not
just
even like a
one long
delineation in the middle of that
No.
episode to
Nope.
denote that it is two separate stories put together and released.
I agree. Yeah.
Released together. It's just one episode, but technically
Mm-hmm.
it is episode 1 and episode 2 because the first season is quote unquote 21 episodes, but that only works if you split the recruit into part 1, part 2. So
Right.
this season is 19, so we're going to end up with a total of 39/40 episodes for this.
Mm-hmm.
So
Crazy short for a series.
yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of questions of what's coming in the future, but there's not
I
too
do
much that
too.
we can speculate on that currently.
And I'm not gonna lie, like having seen this episode in Chicago, I'm just gonna put my opinion out there. I wasn't a huge fan of this episode, based on where we left season 1. Right, there was a lot of momentum that was built up, and the story got to a darker place. Right, like it didn't go full like Empire Dark, shall we say, or anything like that. Right, but like for the Resistance series, it got fairly serious. You know,
I agree with you.
Hosnian Prime blew up. That's a serious event. Kaz does mention in this episode that he's not aware if his parents have survived that explosion or not.
Right.
So like there's lingering darkness out there. And then this episode turns into like a bumbling little adventure where they're trying to fix gravity, and like Flix and Orca have a cameo because we cut to the people, the citizens of the Colossus, because Kaz is like, whoa, like everybody else has to be so miserable, so let's get this artificial gravity fixed. And it cuts to the bar. It cuts to Aunt Z's bar, right? And everybody's like having a party, and they're like, yeah, 0G, let's go.
Yeah, it's like a zero
G
G
party.
rave going on.
Oh yeah, drinks are literally flying, right? Like
Yeah. The drunk old man with the mustache like gets a drink, and Aunt Z's like, yeah, 0G special, and like slides the drink down to him, and then the liquid floats out of the cup. So then in the background you see him like swimming around through the air trying to chase down his drink.
None of which makes any physical sense, but sure, you know.
Yeah, so the way that they move around in this 0G environment is basically like swimming through air.
Right. Which is not how any of this works. And we get this a lot. This happens a lot. Another question. Are the two droids magnetized?
I think so.
Okay. Because we get
because
a
they're
lot
able
of...
to like walk on the floor. They roll around like normal, but if they're off the floor, they often like shoot their little cables to pull them back down to the floor. So I think it's kind of the same thing as like R2 on the outside of the ship in the Phantom Menace, where he just rolled. He just rolls along the contour of the ship. There's some sort of, I think, magnetic connection there that is enabling them to stay to the bulkhead.
Yeah. There was a lot of that where, like you said, they would cable themselves and then move on from there. But we got a lot of like swimming motion from Kaz. As soon as the zero or artificial gravity turns off, too, we get Kaz panicking, and Tora's like, "Aren't you a pilot? Have you never been in 0G before?" Which is a legitimate question, too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that he flew an X-wing, and I guess they have an artificial gravity system in place, which seems kind of foolish, I think, because then, like, with the absence of gravity, you're not going to have, like, G-forces when you're pulling some mad, sick maneuvers, right?
You'll still have G-forces, yeah.
Really?
Depending on... So, like, centrifugal force is still... Like, if you're say, banking a turn, you'll still get sucked into the ship. Things like that, right? Like, those sorts of exertions on your body still exist in 0G. So, like, let's say, like, you're spinning around your belly button.
Right.
Like, your head and feet are still technically trying to pull apart.
Right.
You know? So, even in 0G, that'll still happen. But I agree with you. I don't understand why artificial gravity is needed in the X-Wings.
Right.
Because they're strapped in anyways, right?
Yeah, the only thing I can think is that I know that there's like a pedal system for for part of the steering controls. Like, it's not all yoke. There's a pedal system that goes along with flying an X-Wing, which is why Luke was able to just hop into an X-Wing, because it's the same type of steering mechanism from his T-16 Skyhopper. Like, they're ships that are built on the same steering premise, so that's why he's able to hop in and be able to fly.
But again, they're strapped in, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's some sort of harness mechanism keeping them in, right? Like,
yeah, I'm not really sure.
Yeah. But anyways, so that's going to be my major complaint about this episode, is that we get kind of this after where we left season 1, and I think if you go back to where we were hoping for season 1,
yep.
I think I was hoping for it to get into the meat of the story now. Mm-hmm. We had spent most of season 1 kind of like with this like whole I'm a spy, don't let anybody know I'm a spy, even though I'm saying it out loud, like nonsense, right? Then finally in those last handful of episodes, I was like, yes, this is where Resistance needs to be. Mm-hmm. And then after waiting, 7 months, we get here.
Right.
And then we get this nonsense episode where they're like, instead of getting to the First Order getting to the Resistance, like getting to Resistance base, or figuring out what the new mission is, or figuring out like the full major problem at hand, we get little hints of it in the back. The fact that we see Tam and Pyre and them bits of the First Order, that's cool. There's a danger that's out there.
Uh-huh.
But for the Colossus itself, we have this weird sidestep of like, oh, artificial gravity's out, so I guess we gotta fix that.
Yeah, I think this was a pretty soft entrance to season 2.
Yes.
My one word review of this episode is honestly going to be underwhelming.
Right.
That being said, I'm still giving this one a thumbs up.
Uh-huh.
Because I did enjoy it. As kind of soft as this jump into season 2 is, it's more like dipping your toe in the water and kind of getting back in the groove of things. But I think that it's kind of like a reintroduction of characters and just testing the waters, and then we're going to be able to, I feel like we're going to be able to push forward from here and do as you said, jump into the things, jump back to where we were.
Just in the era of television we're in right now, and I get this is aimed towards such a different audience than, say, many other prestige, quote-unquote, prestige shows, right? But, like, even like, let's say, comparing it to, I already brought up The Good Place, and I think that is probably a good show to bring up. Like, that's a more adult-focused comedy, but it is a comedy nonetheless, right? Mm-hmm. At most, you'll get, like, a previously on, and I would accept that here, right? But then, like, when we jump a season, like, it kicks off, man. Like, it goes through, like, it sets up the story for that season, but it gets into it rather than creating some weird side problem, and so I think here's the difference, too. I think when I saw it at Star Wars Celebration Chicago, I was probably closer to where you are. Right. I was feeling okay. Like, I still felt the same way about the episode. I wish we got into the meat of things. I agree with you. It was underwhelming. It's a soft entrance. Those are great descriptions of this episode. I agree with you 100%.
Right.
And after seeing it at Star Wars Celebration, I would have felt the same way. I was like, yes, okay. We're just going to ease back into season 2. It's still trying to be a fun, cool show. But now we know this is the last season. There will be no more premieres of this show.
Yeah. So here's kind of my opinion on season 2 being the end of Resistance. Uh-huh. It wouldn't surprise me if some of these characters move on to something else. I mean, we've seen that before. We had carryover characters between the Clone Wars and Rebels. right?
For sure.
So it wouldn't surprise me if, if Kazuda lives through the end of this, for him to move on to something else, or Niku, or whatever.
Right.
But it also makes sense to me that this is going to be the end of it, because this is, following along. We are simultaneous with The Last Jedi right now.
Right.
And this season is supposed to parallel time period of The Last Jedi and then move forward. So
Right.
season 1 took about 6 months of time. So 6 months of time gets us through The Last Jedi and then past that. And has it been said when The Rise of Skywalker takes place?
It's definitely a matter of years. It's not immediate the way Last Jedi was. I don't recall exactly the time frame, but I do recall it being a matter of years.
Yeah, I don't remember as well, but so, to me it makes sense that maybe this is going to take place over a longer time span than like the 6 months of season 1, and it's going to lead up to The Rise of Skywalker, because from what I have heard is once we are able to see The Rise of Skywalker, we are going to know why Resistance ends with this season. So I think that there's going to be some stuff like building towards maybe something a little bit ambiguous until the mid-season break. Then we're going to get Rise of Skywalker, and then they're going to be able to open up the second half of this season to kind of more information that they don't want to spoil in the first half of the season.
Which is fine. If that were the case, I would still say maybe delay the show a bit,
until after Rise of Skywalker comes out,
or just time it so that you kind of know where the breaks are, right?
Okay.
So we discussed last time on Clone Wars where you found it weird that there was such a large break between episodes 2 and 3 of a 3-episode arc.
Yep.
But why not employ something like that here?
Okay.
Right? Like, sure, it's 19 episodes, but if you know that you got to make it through a handful of episodes, otherwise it spoils stuff, right? Why waste time?
Okay.
Like,
I'm with you.
Delay the premiere 3 weeks.
Right.
Have this start mid-November or something, or
right, and then
whatever.
you only have 4 episodes before.
Yeah.
4 to 6 or whatever, and you have a two-thirds of the season to kind of do what you're doing. I mean,
Exactly.
I really hope that the first half of the season isn't just a slow burn to get past the movie premiere so that they can go full bore into whatever they're doing.
Do you think these characters will end up on Crate?
No. I don't.
Do you think they'll mention Crate?
Yes.
You think they will?
Yes.
I'm kind of on the fence with that one, honestly. But yeah,
I think that there could definitely be some type of communication, like at the end of the first half of the season, about the events at the end of The Last Jedi.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just concerned because especially you said there's only 19 episodes for this season.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about what ground they're gonna cover. Like any prediction I had from like last year, I think last season maybe I somebody can check the tape. I honestly don't remember what I said. I think I probably gave like a list of like personal hopes more than maybe predictions.
Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate to your personality.
Right. Because I suck at predictions. That's for sure. But now I'm just getting concerned with that with 19 episodes at being 22 minutes each, I don't foresee this being as bad, but I'm just concerned that they're going to paint themselves into like a weird little corner like Game of Thrones season 8,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, after this episode, we only have just over 6 hours, between 6 and 6.5 hours of Star Wars Resistance left.
Exactly.
Which is exciting but sad, you know.
Yeah.
So
they're definitely working on other content for sure. We have Mandalorian coming out November. Clone Wars is coming out sometime spring, I believe, is the current radar on that. You know, so I think as soon as Resistance ends, we'll start getting some Clone Wars back up.
Probably. I don't think that they're going to overlap.
Yeah.
As far as animated shows go.
Right. They're on different networks anyway, so technically speaking.
Yeah, but it's all on Disney Plus, baby.
Disney Plus. I, for one, welcome our Disney overlords. But yeah, so that's my main concern and frustration right now regarding Resistance. I agree with you that this episode is still fun. It moves by at a decent clip, that's for sure as well. However,
it doesn't feel like a season opener.
Not at all. It just feels like another episode of Resistance. I don't know if maybe that's an okay thing. I don't know. To me, I'd prefer to get into the meat of matter, or at least set up more of an arc than just like Tam is bad. What could happen there? Right?
So let's talk about Tam for a little bit. Her motivation to join the First Order is because she sees the First Order as an organization that is looking to do good in the galaxy and kind of bring peace, right? Get rid of all this warring and, you know, just kind of be a rule of law that can be even and just throughout the galaxy.
Yep.
Right? But then at the same time, she's like, oh, those people aren't my friends anymore. They don't mean shit to me. Does this motivation make sense from her point of view? Or is this just kind of Filoni baloney?
I think this is Filoni baloney, even though Filoni's not heavily involved in this show, is he?
No, he's like
he's just like
he's an executive producer, I think,
background.
But he's
yeah. Like he's a far background.
But on this show, that is the term that we use.
Right. So, no, I agree with you. I'm going to make another Game of Thrones reference, but it's like they know the ending, and now they're just writing a straight line to that instead of most other shows, even when they have a planned ending. In the writing of shows, characters can kind of just evolve on their own, right? So you gotta adapt to that, right? But here, I feel like they're really, really trying to hammer this justification onto Tam,
right,
as to why she wants to join, and especially based on all the events that happened on the Colossus in the last season. Double down with Yeager saying like, hey, no, like I lived through the Empire, and let me tell you, it wasn't great, and all the First Order wants is to bring back that level of government, totalitarian dictatorship shit, right? And that was bad. It was real bad. And Tam is like, well, I don't know, you're just telling an old story, old man.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, obviously Yeager has the experience and the wisdom to know the difference, and he is looking at things more on a macro scale, and I think she is in this just microcosm of, like, Tam's universe, and she's hurt by her friends because they were keeping secrets from her, and this current option of, like, having this rigid structure and a place where she feels like she belongs and is needed, I think is why she's falling into the First Order. I don't see her staying in the First Order the entire season. I think that eventually she's going to come around. Kaz is going to get a hold of her one way or the other. Somehow there's going to be an interaction. Somehow they're going to kiss and make up or whatever. And I think she may become an integral part of wherever this story is going for the positive, not as an antagonist.
I hope so. I I have hope that Tam may turn around. I am again just concerned with the time frame we have to do this.
Yeah, it is going to be pretty quick, but I also feel that about the Rise of Skywalker in general is there's a lot of shit they got to cover in one movie. And
yeah, that movie's gonna have to be. It's gonna be Rise of Skywalker Part 1, and then 6 months later we're gonna get Rise of Skywalker Part 2. That would be my.
It's gonna be, it's got to be pushing 3 hours long.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it worked for Endgame.
Yeah, for sure.
It worked for Endgame. So we'll see. We'll see. Star Wars is definitely in a different place.
Yep.
With the fandom and general public, shall we say, based on many different factors right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Even Disney parks included in that.
I got a couple other questions before we wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
One, we start with Phasma basically saying, hey, do this shit or you guys are done for. We jump in hot and heavy to, there are the ultimate repercussion, right? Execution.
Yes. Right.
And I guess that is totally First Order and it totally makes sense. But Tierney and Pyre don't really seem bothered by this too much. I guess they have confidence that they're going to be able to get the info that they need or whatever.
I think it's just situation normal for
Right.
them, right?
Do you think Phasma goes around all the time like, hey, you fucking clean the floor better or I'm going to execute you?
I don't know about Phasma, especially the little we've seen of her throughout the 2 movies. I've not read the Phasma book or anything.
I have not either.
So, yeah, I'm count me among those who I still like Phasma. I don't have a burning hatred of Phasma the way some fans have taken onto that. I put myself more in the camp of disappointment.
Yeah, she's underutilized.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's on purpose. I don't know. People have compared her to Boba Fett, right?
Yeah.
Like this little used, could be badass character.
Yes, yeah.
I don't make that connection.
I don't quite either. I think it's more of like they created this character and then kind of the story had no place for her.
Right.
Like it is just, again, it's like one of those things, like you create these characters and then the story or the characters themselves take a turn of their own. So who knows, like maybe in early drafts, Phasma was like more front facing sort of character.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
It
would be, but, I think Resistance is an avenue where she could be more utilized. I don't know if that's going to happen.
We've discussed it too, where like Pyre and Red Trooper were kind of unnecessary of their,
Von Reg.
Von Reg. They had no reason to coexist, and honestly, like Phasma even could have taken over some of the Pyre stuff, and that would have been cool. But now we have this other character who I feel like I know more about Pyre than I do about Phasma.
For sure.
Right? Based on this show. So yeah, just I'm a fan of everything generally speaking, but there are still disappointments. I don't have the burning hatred for Last Jedi like many people do.
Right.
But I will concede that there are issues with characters being developed or underdeveloped or just forgotten completely.
And that happens,
Yeah.
There's only so much cake you can take to the party, I guess.
But I find it interesting though that Tam is outside of all of this. Like as soon as Phasma lays down that threat and then hangs up, then the door opens and in comes Tam. Like, do you think if she had heard the threat, she would still be hanging around?
Probably.
You think her resolution is that strong that she's just like, fuck my friends?
I think that her butthurtitude is that strong.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Did you look at the credits on this at the end?
No, I didn't.
So this is not Gwendolyn Christie.
Oh, that I saw. Yeah, that part I did see. It's
Which
not
is
Gwendolyn Christie.
weird because a couple articles that I read regarding the return of Resistance specifically state like Gwendolyn Christie is back as Captain Phasma.
Yeah.
And I was like, really?
But not here.
Not here? I don't. Maybe she is later.
Later.
I don't
Maybe
know.
Later.
It seems like
It's weird.
It is weird.
Like,
she sounds good.
Yeah, she sounds great. She sounds just like Gwendolyn Christie. Maybe Gwendolyn Christie was busy with Game of Thrones shit. I mean, Game of Thrones, disappointing as it was, to say the least, had a big old media blitz,
Right.
And they were filming that shit for 2 years.
Right. Very true.
And and Game of Thrones is now over.
Who does the voice, by the way?
I have an Ellen Dubin.
Yep.
Dubin.
That's right.
Dubin. So Dubin? Yeah, sorry, Ellen. Ellen I got. But Dubin? Yeah. But yeah, I found that curious as well. I agree with you though. Sounds very good, matches the character. I don't think 99% of normal people are going to hear a difference whatsoever.
I don't think 99% of people are going to care, to be honest.
Nope, exactly. They don't care, nor will they notice. They won't notice, nor will they care.
Right.
So, yeah, it's this episode's been interesting to talk about for sure. Yeah.
The only other two things that I have are the fact that it's specifically stated that the hyperdrive is out of coaxium, which I'm kind of surprised that there was any coaxium in the hyperdrive to begin with, because this ship became an embedded station, and when they have fuel shortages, you think that they would have already robbed the coaxium from the hyperdrive.
Yeah.
But I guess that not everybody knew there was a hyperdrive. I don't really know. They do open up a new set location, I guess, which is like the command center, which was kind of cool. And Kaz is like super impressed by this area. I have a feeling that this is going to be something that we see on a regular basis. Is shit going down in this area. And then the last thing I had was the return of OP Pitt and his struggles. Yes. I noticed that he has like claw hands. Like he doesn't have hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did we see him last season?
I think we always saw him gloved. We always saw him gloved, I think. He was always cleaning with gloves. He had like the big like Frankenstein, like 1932 Frank whale. Yeah. Yeah.
Big rubber
gloves. That's my memory, anyways. Like I've not revisited season 1 in a while.
I was going to rewatch the entire season, and I watched all the shorts yesterday and didn't get to. I think I watched part of the first episode, and then today it is all gone from Disney Now. The only episode available of Resistance is season 2, episode 1.
Of course. Hey, get that Disney Plus.
Right,
I'm assuming that's where it's going.
I would imagine so.
Real quickly, just because you brought it up, and I hadn't thought of it before, but is coaxium becoming a MacGuffin that is used way too much in Star Wars right now?
I think fuel in general is.
Right. Because what is your first memory of coaxium being mentioned ever, by the way? Like, it's never mentioned
Solo.
It's just Solo, right? Or like at least in major part, right?
By name.
Yeah, by name, because it's never mentioned in original trilogy. It's never mentioned in sequel trilogy.
Right.
It's all Disney stuff, and the only reason I mention it now too is like after Solo and with the opening of Galaxy's Edge this year, which we haven't quite talked about, not in official capacity via the show, but.
Right, the whole point of Smuggler's Run is to collect coaxium.
So the amount of times since the end of May that I have heard Hondo Ohnaka say the word, "Get the coaxium." Oh, yes, you got the coaxium. Thank you. Yes, I will collect that. Go get the second coaxium. I've heard the word coaxium so much more. And the fact that it got brought up again here, I was like, oh, right. Where the fuck did all this coaxium come from?
Yeah, it's weird. Apparently the Disney era also brought with it a fuel shortage that needs to be addressed, and it's totally a running through line.
Right. Like, look, separate episode, but yeah, Smuggler's Run, I've been on it like 12 times, honestly, so I don't want to say that there's no repeatability.
Yeah.
But I would love the ability to have a separate mission where I go collect spice, or I don't know, save somebody from something, or
drop off Chewie on Kashyyyk for Life Day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, go hang out on Life Day, which, we got a month and a half until Life Day. So
yep, it's right around the corner.
Get ready for Life Day. We'll have to have a Life Day party.
We will. I'll start looking into that. Yes.
But yeah, so it's just one of those things where I was like, fuck, as soon as you say coaxium, I got... And it funny enough, it's only... you have a different experience, obviously, but for me, it's it's Hondo Anaka on Smuggler's Run just yelling at me over and over to get the coaxium. Cut to me riding with like people who have no idea what they're doing, and I'm like, get behind the train. What are you doing, children? Up. No, not down. Opposite. Pull towards you to go up. What's wrong with you people? I'm like yelling at 6-year-olds and stuff like that. That's been my summer at Disneyland. So
Peter Scaretta of slashfilm.com he's got a couple of videos out where they have deliberately gone in and tried to do the worst possible that they could. They're fun to watch. I think they did one where it was like nobody touched any controls just to see what would happen, and then they did one to deliberately try to like crash into as many things as possible and receive the worst score possible.
Yeah, let me tell you, I've ridden it with 2 6-year-olds I'm bad at guessing ages. They were little children, like they were tiny children, and the parents put them both up front to pilot. We're on a side tangent, but it's still Star Wars related, so sure.
Yep.
And let me tell you, I'm not one to get terribly motion sick. I can ride Star Tours, which is another simulator ride. That does not mess me up. I have friends that go on Star Tours, and they are knocked out for an hour. Like, they can't do anything. They got to sit it out,
Right.
Like, they can't even walk around for an hour,
right,
sort of thing. That does not affect me that way. After this one ride with these 2 children that were not paying attention to things, and again, it was like a kid just like left, right on the control, just like back and forth, like 100% one way to 100% the other, like quick succession, right? Riding the walls the whole time, and the other kid up, down, or like just pulling nonstop up because he can barely reach the controls.
Right.
I got a negative score. It was the first time I've ever seen a negative score on that ride. I didn't know you could get negative scores.
Yep. You totally can.
But so, no, you can.
Yep.
Even I had to take a quick break after that one.
Yeah, I totally believe it.
I was not feeling great after that one. But yeah, there's a heavy dependence on fuel and coaxium. You're correct. A lot of storylines right now deal in coaxium, deal in fuel. I swear to God, if Mandalorian starts up and the big mission that he has to go get is fuel at some point.
It's like a fucking Star Wars Mad Max of everybody fighting for fucking gasoline and coaxium.
I got his boot.
Right. You never know, man. You never know.
We'll see.
Unless you're listening to this in the future, and then you do know, but we don't know right now.
We don't know. We'll talk about Mandalorian come November 6th, right? Is that the day?
8th? 12th?
8th?
8th?
Yeah,
I don't
12th?
know. Whenever it is.
Somewhere early November. I know I'm signed up.
I have not signed up yet, but I'm going to.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm signed up for 3 years because I did the D23 Expo.
Which is a hell of a deal.
Yeah. It was kind of nuts. It comes up to like $3.80 a month. So
yeah, super cheap.
I took that deal straight up.
Good for you, Lorenzo. Yeah. Good for you.
Hopefully by then it'll make Resistance easier to watch rather than going through Disney Now, which kind of is hit and miss. It's not a bad app. It's just not a great app either for how I watch it.
It has served me well so far.
Yes.
But let's make this thing official. Kevin gives this a thumbs up.
I'm giving this just a slight thumbs down.
Okay.
Just a slight. Like, this, if scoring this by numbers, I would give it like just a middle ground 5. You know,
out of
but
10.
that 5, 5 out of 10. But it can go up or down. Like that 5 kind of it just really just falls however I feel like it, kind of thing.
Okay.
And this one just slightly goes thumbs down, honestly. Again, if you had asked me April 16th, day after I saw it,
It would have been
Chicago,
a slight thumbs up.
Yeah, it would have been like a 5 or 6 out of 10 thumbs up.
Uh-huh.
Right? Like, it's fine. It's not great. Not bad.
Yeah.
Fun enough. But now, like, after Game of Thrones Season 8, I'm just like, finish up storylines, people. Finish up storylines. Stop dropping threads.
Yeah.
I know that's a lot of pressure to put on Resistance of all shows, but
for sure.
The sting of Season 8 Game of Thrones is still very present in my mind. I will never let that go. Sorry.
What's your one-word review for this week?
Underwhelming.
Underwhelming?
Is that what you said?
That is what I said.
I'm just going to stick with yours. I'm going to steal yours. It's, underwhelming. It's, like I said.
I'm going to switch mine to soft then.
Yeah, soft, yeah. It kind of reminds me of, this is a joke I make a lot, or a reference I make a lot, but History of the World Part 1, Mel Brooks, have you ever seen that?
I have not.
Where, in Roman, there's a section of the movie that takes place during Roman times, right? And we cut to Caesar, played by Dom DeLuise.
Okay.
And somebody brings Caesar a bunch of gold, and they ask Caesar what he thinks about it. He goes, "It's nice. It's nice. Not thrilling, but nice."
Yeah, it's fine.
So I do want to temper. Like, I'm giving this a thumbs down. It by no means is just like a terrible episode or anything. It's just
right.
It did nothing for me.
I get you.
So
we do see. Last thing I'm going to bring up is we do see the pirates in Aunt Z's bar. So I guess
they're hanging around. Yeah,
they're going to be playing a part in this season as well. We'll see how that goes, because we went from enemies to maybe friends. I don't know.
Or at least decent acquaintances, shall we say.
Uneasy alliance, perhaps.
Right, yes. So we'll see how that all goes. We have next week an episode, as far as I can tell, called A Quick Salvage Run.
Yep.
So
I got the same
that'll
thing.
be a week from now. Yep, October 13th, 2019. So anything else? Because until then,
that's all I got, man. I'm wondering where they're going to be salvaging things from, but
it's going to be more fuel shit. I'm telling you. If we're doing a salvage run, I just looked at it now. Having looked at the title, it's going to be a salvage run for fuel. I'm telling you right now. I'm calling it.
All right, man. You heard it here first.
No,
salvage run for fuel.
No, I don't want to go into next week bummed out already.
Well, you got another 7 days, so keep positive until then.
Oh God. Anyway, so a quick salvage run for next week. Until then, please check us out on notthenerds.com. All the episodes of Not the Nerds are listed there. We got links to the episodes on YouTube. Audio only goes up on YouTube as well. Otherwise, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you're listening to us, please subscribe, like, comment, rate us, all that stuff. Let us know what you think. And as always, we like to give thanks to Lindsay at Strange Fantasy Music on Twitter. She's the one who put together the jingle you hear at the beginning and end of every episode. Also, Kevin at They Call Me K-Dub. He's the gentleman that put together the artwork, our main cover art. And the one I still haven't gotten yet. Please remind me.
At Blue the Beard. Blue the Beard on Twitter. My buddy Anthony that put our website together, so... Shouts out to those three. Shouts out to Lorenzo. Thanks for sitting down today and discussing Star Wars Resistance with me. And like Lorenzo said, next week, a quick salvage run. Until then, I've been Kevin.
Get the coaxium. No, it's in my head.
Get the coaxium.
These are the dreams I have at night. I've been Lorenzo. I'm going to go get that coaxium. I'll be back.
And these aren't the coaxiums you're looking for.
No. Bye-bye.